The number one thing that I got from all the speakers is the game has changed. It's almost impossible to ask for feedback if you haven't even made the attempt. Instead of just talking about something, you should show it.
So I actually prepared like a dozen slides. He hasn't even seen these, but they're kind of like examples, screenshots, references from his story. But I tried to pull out the threads of his strategies and his secret sauce when it comes to marketing.
Yo, but before we get started, can everybody here, I know how hard it is to put on events and to get this thing together. It's like you're doing God's work, when you put on an event. So can we just all get on our feet and clap it up for Connor? Let's clap it up for Connor for doing this right now.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Seriously, appreciate you all.
Because it's not easy, and events change lives, and so I'm excited to be here, man. Thank you for putting this together.
I appreciate it. I really believe it. In fact, that's why I want to start with, it's a perfect segue into the first question, actually, because if you guys don't know, Neel recently hosted an event in Vegas that had somewhere around 1,000 people in the real estate space come together. And they had a whole bunch of experts coming in and sharing their ideas. So I almost want to get the spark notes from you in the room here. What was the biggest takeaway from that event that people were talking about when it comes to marketing in real estate?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway, and this is number one, I think everybody here, regardless, I think most people are real estate, right? In the room, there's a few other people I talked to, even, doesn't matter what business you're in, the number one thing that, is happening right now in marketing is, there's never been a bigger opportunity in terms of how many people are on social, and they're if you walk outside, people's backs are permanently curved because they're looking at their phone. The number of distracted driving incidents, the number of freaking people just walking into a hole, just because they're just glued to their phone. So the biggest opportunity we've ever seen. At the same time, there's never been this many people pushing out content. So how do you cut through the noise? That's my thing. And the number one thing that I got from all the speakers is the game has changed. You no longer need to have a huge following and get all these and become a celebrity and become an influencer. The game is now shifted to micro-influencers. So for some of you guys in the room who haven't been taking this seriously, you get kind of lucky because the balls come to you now. You don't need to be internet famous and have a million followers. You just need to build a small, connected audience, build a community. And the way that you can do that is by just showing things that you're doing. So that was the one thing I got from it. It was man, don't talk about things, show it. Don't just tell, you should show.
I saw a few people talk about that at the event. In fact, I've seen this trend as well, where people getting going with videos, there's this assumption you need to have 1 million followers or tens of thousands viral views, and you can legitimately get one customer from one view.
Yeah, so everybody here, is one additional customer, one additional client, is it valuable to your business? Raise your hand if that's true. Okay, so if that's the case, then we don't need to reach huge amount of people. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't try to go viral. I try all the time, but at the same time, the content that I've received the most amount of business opportunity from has been the lowest in terms of views, because you're reaching the right people.
What about you had two goats on stage, Hormozi and Gary Vee.
Yeah.
And so what's something that maybe they said, whether it was advice to realtors or real estate pros when it comes to executing on this stuff?
So this is the big thing from Hormozi, and I actually been implementing this, and every single one of you, it's gonna work for you, is instead of just talking about something, you should show it. And so, there's different ways you could do this, but in my niche, I would show the numbers. So I made 2 videos. One video where I just tell you the strategy on how to buy a property, and here's the numbers, and here's how it works. The second video, I walk up to a board, and I write down the numbers, and I show you, and I point to different things, and I circle them. The second video gets 3x, sometimes 10x the reach, and more importantly, it generates more leads if you do a call to action on that video. And we could talk about specific call to action. But, so again, the main takeaway was to show people something. For example, if you're talking about things, people think it's just theoretical. So theoretical content is dying. People want real content. Okay, if you told me about this situation, what's the specific situation? So anytime you could take a general concept and make it specific, it's gonna reach more people and get better results.
I like that. An example I've even seen with real estate is like the old classic just sold photo. Instead of doing that, actually tell the story behind it. So like, here's how, slide 1 is here's how we actually met. Slide 2 is like, here's the vendors and how we actually got the offer of the home. Slide 3 is, the whole journey. So
Correct, yeah.
show versus
And just
tell.
like, even if your clients didn't want to be in that video, what if you just shot the video in front of the house? What if you put a picture of the house in the background of the video? Like just talking about the actual deal and showing what it is real, then people can connect the dots and they think it's like if it could work for that person, it's going to work for me, and they connect the dots.
Yep. So how about, I kind of want to rewind for a quick minute. A lot of people in the room here know you as a very successful, very high achieving businessman, but I want to go back to your journey in 2019.
Yeah.
So this is actually a photo of when Neel and I first met. I think you were even just getting started. I feel like you had maybe like a couple thousand followers or something at the time, but like a lot of people in the room here, I feel like are in that 2019 version. And so what was your mindset? Like, what were some of the tips that you could give yourself back then to go
Yeah,
for
so
it?
like people will say, hey, what's your plan? Like, what's your 5-year thing? I don't really know. I was just trying to do whatever I could do that day to get more business. And so the thing that changed the game for me was I was tired of doing one-to-one. And when I saw the advantage of going one-to-many, that's what changed the game. So I was like, okay, I could put out a video, even if just 100 people saw it on Facebook or Instagram, like I was reaching more people. The part that I messed up on, bro, was like I would try all these different things and never ask for business. You ever hear like jab, 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 right hook? Yeah. I was just jabbing, bro, for like a year, never throwing any hooks. And then like what's cool is there's some people that will reach out to you and they'll be like, yo, love your videos, would love to do business with you. Like, especially if the market's doing well, that happens. But what I found was there's massive amount of people, like more people than you could ever imagine, are just a couple questions away from working with us, but we're not prompting them, So I was never doing the proper calls to action. So like, if I could go back and tell my 2019 nerdy self, like, what should you do? Like, dude, ask for business, but do it in the right way, of course, you know?
What about even some of the people that maybe are hesitant to even start creating the jabs? Like, not even necessarily great with like value add content. Like, is there
I think at some point, we were in that time telling people, hey, you got to do video, you got to do. At this point, it's more about, hey, if you're doing it, here's how we can get better. It's almost impossible to ask for feedback if you haven't even made the attempt. Someone will be like, hey, I've been thinking about doing this. I'm like, dude, let me just stop you. If you go ahead and post it, we can give you some feedback. But if you're not even in the game, it's hard to give the feedback, It's like we get messages all the time from people who are thinking about doing something and just planning to do something. And it's like, man, the big results are going to come from actually doing it.
Yeah. The quality of video comes from the quantity and improvement. This next one's not really even a question as much as this is a screenshot. It's a quick story. It's a screenshot from the literal first conversation that Neel and I had like 5-6 years ago. And the takeaway and the point of why I wanted to share this one is, I don't even know if you remember this, bro, so I'll share a screenshot on this next slide. But I sent him a cold email just saying like, hey man, I love your stuff. I'd love to make content like for you and with you. And we never even met. I had no idea where that was going to lead to. But I have this kind of theory that more than the content itself, the act of creating content leads to conversations and opportunities. So whether it's reaching out to people for collaborations or reaching out to do some of these other things, like it's the act of meeting up with people and actually building those relationships I think leads to some of the biggest results. We won't play that video because it's seriously so cringy. Actually here, because I know you can't see on screen, but like this side note, this was one email to Neel. I made it look almost like a newsletter, huge mistake. He even just recently shared this tip where email marketing, you want to keep it to like one simple line. So ironically, 5 years prior, I did the exact opposite of your advice.
Yeah. So this is really good for emails. I'll just give you guys a hack. Obviously, subject lines are important, but I removed big logos and big images from my emails, and my deliverability and open rate exploded. So the emails that work the best for me are just short, sweet, just text only. Like sometimes the subject line will say, yo, it's Neel. Just something to get you curious to open it up, and then a few lines and a call to action. Whatever your next step would be. And sometimes that's just simply reply to the email.
The simplicity usually sells the most.
Yeah, and then one thing I was just gonna say was like, I think like most of us are overthinking the process in terms of what you want from it. And I think the reason why some people don't continue doing the videos and continue doing the emails and doing all the digital marketing is because they're not getting anything from it. Once you start to get something from it, you get passionate about it, and so if you make it easier to win, it works. So I'll just give you guys an example. Like when you send out an email to your database, what's the next step for them to do something with you? Like you're sending them some market information, and the next step would be this. And so for me, what I do is I'll ask them, hey, if you're interested on this, or if you want this tool, simply reply to this email and say interested. And so what I found was people don't know what to do next, and they're hesitant, and they're just in this weird space of inaction. If you tell them exactly what you have and exactly what to do next, they'll do it. So me saying reply to the email, I would get some replies. When I said reply to the email and just say the word interested and I'll send you more info, the number of responses tripled, quadrupled, because I told them exactly what to do. So it sounds dumb, but like people won't do shit unless you make it ultra clear, like just cut through all the noise. Everyone's distracted right now. We got a lot of noise coming at us. And so clarity cuts through all that.
I love the idea on clarity and simplicity. And then I think what you touched on too is like, to me, lead generation is conversation generation. You're trying to, the whole goal here with social media is how do we generate as many combos as possible. I want to go to this picture of you and Gary Vee actually from back in the day, because I think you were kind of going in this direction, right? Where you then started to reach out to people similar to what I was reaching out to you, and that led to then conversations with Tom Ferry and Chris Do, and like, is that part of the strategy as well? Like almost you finding mentors that can kind of give you some of these ideas along the way?
Yeah, so I wanted to create content for my network to like improve, and then they would refer me more business. That was my goal. So then I would go out and reach out to the big names in the industry, put together content, and then post that long form, and then cut it up into short form. And then to get these interviews, I found all you have to do is just ask. It's kind of weird, like like. I don't know, you get better at asking, and then when you get one, you ask the next guy, and you ask the next guy. I'm surprised at how very few people ask, and the second part is they ask in the most confusing manner, make it hard. Like, so don't make it hard for someone to say yes. So for example, if I wanted to go do an interview with Tom Ferry, and he was in Santa Ana at the time, like it's harder now in Texas, but I was like, hey, I'm gonna be in this area on this day, would love to come by and shoot a podcast. I have my home team with you. Here's an example of the last one we did. Can we come by and do it? I was not going to be in the area, bro. Yeah. Like we're flying down to do this with you, but I just said that, and so then we can do it. It's like make it easy to say, yeah, I'll do it. I think some people make it hard and they send you to like a questionnaire form, or they don't even tell you what to do next, and then it just gets lost in the sauce.
And back to that theory of like him reaching out to create content led to now both of these guys, Chris and Tom, have spoken at his event. They've done all kinds of collaborations.
Like we're friends now, yeah.
It's just like the act of creating content, to me, is one of the strongest dominoes to build a relationship or break into a community or meet somebody.
Yeah, same thing with Chris. Like I went to his website. There was a coaching call that you could purchase on the website. And so I purchased the coaching call, and then I did the same bullshit story where I'm gonna be in town on this day. Could we do the call live, and I could do it as a podcast? And he's like, sure, come by.
It's really hard to find someone that doesn't want to say yes when you're like putting their story on. But I want to kind of going down the timeline. This is where I want to say if a lot of you guys got in, if you remember when Reels first came out, talking heads kind of started getting popular, like maybe even for better or worse now, but this guy like invented it. Like I want to say Neel really put it on the real estate map.
Is Kyle Whistler? He used to call me the real deal. The real deal Neel.
And so like you hammered this really hard, and so can you kind of talk about that shift to where you were kind of dabbling, you met some of these guys, Tom Ferry, Gary, Chris, and then you just went really hard on this model? Like what was the strategy there, and how did it work out?
In the beginning, there was no like much organic reach. I would just post videos and then hope that people saw them and shared them. And so it was just trying to create shareable content. And then something changed in the algorithm, I think 2020, maybe right before COVID or something like that. And now they started showing your videos, even if you don't have a following, to strangers. And so I made an informational video, and then all of a sudden it blew up, and I was like, oh, that was weird. You get 10,000 views, I only have 800 followers. How did that happen? And it just took off. So I was like, oh, I need to start doing more of that. And so it's weird. How many of you have had something here that worked in your business? Like you did something and it worked. Like everyone's had that, right? Why don't we just do more of that? You know what I mean? Sometimes we're like, dude, we need to get this, we need to do this. Sometimes it's really simple. Hey, I had this video blow up. Why don't I just go make 100 more videos like that? And then that's how I built my audience.
Yeah, that story there was partially even my biggest like regret or mistake or miss, because at the time I was creating a ton of videos that were like podcast interview model. It was something I was comfortable with. And so to his point, we had even brainstormed. He straight up told me, like, yo, this is the style that's working. Like, do this. And I was resistant because of my own kind of like either insecurities or concerns or whatever it was. And to this day, I feel like that was almost a little bit of an opportunity that I could have pressed on harder. So rather than doing a few videos, maybe I could have gone all in on that and really increased.
I'm going to actually give everyone the hack here. If you really want to build your audience this year and get more people into your following, this is a mistake that almost everybody's making, including myself. There's two types of content. There's observation content and expert content. And so if you have notes, write this down. Okay, so observation or expert. Most people are making expert content. Now, expert content is good for bottom of the funnel when the people already know that you're the expert. But if they don't know you, expert content is dead. Like if I come on, let me just give you an example, practical example. Say I pop on social and I say, hey, this is my favorite credit card because it gives you I'm gonna tell you the #1 credit card that all of you should have. You'd be like, okay, you might listen. But what if I said that 93% of people under 30 are getting this credit card and I'm gonna tell you why? That's an observation. I'm not saying I'm the expert, I'm just giving you the observation and my take on it. Like that gets more views and more people come into your following. The second one speaks to just the people who know that you're the expert. So a lot of people will say, hey, here's the top 3 tips to buy a home in 2024. They're like, who are you to tell me that? That's what the audience is thinking, right? So unless you have some proof, it's hard. So the observation would be like, here's how my client did this. Or, you know, I looked at my database and 973 clients, 76% of them did this one thing to make them successful home buyers. And I'm gonna share that with you today. That's just my observation based on the data, so no one has to question it. Does that make sense for everyone here? So if you can ever shift to observation, it's gonna get you more followers. Where you want to do expert content is when you want to go bottom of the funnel to the people that are already in your following, and then you can convert from there.
I like the distinction on expert and observing, because my single best video to this day was me just telling a story about someone in Texas. Never even met that agent, never even talked to him, but I was just telling the story of how he sells 16 homes a day.
So like one of the pieces of content that got me the most home buyers in Las Vegas was I simply made observation about what's happening in Las Vegas. So like I found the biggest headlines and I was like, guys, you have to check this out. So in the next 12 months, we're gonna be getting this team, and there's gonna be a fast, high-speed rail from Vegas to LA. It's gonna be 2 hours. The population's gonna be this. And then in the comments are a bunch of people debating, a bunch of business partners, and it's weird. The algorithm is so good now at showing your content to the right people. So it didn't used to be like that, but now you could make a piece of content, no hashtags, nothing. It like analyzes it and it'll show it to the right audience for you, and it takes off.
All right, so I want to talk about your content evolving here. So obviously now you've kind of taken it up another level, whether it's doing some of that observation style, storytelling, even just mixing it up, some of the stage stuff. Like, how do you currently think about evolving your content? You're always already doing so well. Like, how do you improve?
So I used to just do content in the studio, and then theoretical, like talking head content is more difficult to reach a lot of new people unless you have established right now. So what I found is changing up the location helps, so I don't shoot in the same spot every time. And then I mix in a lot more personal things. So when I mix in more personal, I get unfollowed sometimes. You don't grow to virality. But what happens is people get to know you. And so, you know, everybody here is like, I want to be well known by all these people. I flipped it around. I want to be known well by the people in my circle. Because those are the people that trust me and will come to my events and will work with me and refer me. I just want like those people that you rock with. So a lot of us want to be like Insta famous. You just want to be famous with like 1,000 people or 2,000 people. And so I like sharing a lot of personal things in my stories. But what I found was, anybody see that your Instagram story views are down? Do you ever feel that? Or just me? Damn. So you know, nobody else? Nobody wants to admit? Okay, I got you. You don't have to show me, it's okay, I know. But anyways, sometimes your Instagram stories are low these days. Well, why don't we just post that shit in the feed? Like, why is your Instagram feed on a pedestal? It can only be this perfectly produced video. So the shift for me was like, dude, throw some of this stuff in the feed. And now you reach more of your followers, plus you reach strangers. So that was a big shift for me in the last 12 months is not every video on your feed needs to be like perfectly produced. Just throw something that you just did on your phone really quick, pop it up as a reel. It has the chance to blow up. I have a quick story about how I went to the Super Bowl this year in January. Anybody go to the Super Bowl in Vegas this year? One dude? Oh, we got one person. All right. You guys know of it. You watched it, right? All right, so I went to the Super Bowl. It's like my dream to go to the Super Bowl since I was a kid. Finally went. While I was there, I started posting videos in the feed. Okay, so like, hey, we're walking into the Super Bowl. Look at my seats, right? I made a video and I posted it, okay? The first comment on the video as I posted it sitting in my seat at the Super Bowl was this guy, and he's like, Neel, I'm right behind you, look up. And I look up and he's in the box, you know, and I think those boxes are kind of expensive, right? So the dude's successful. And then we got to connect, and then we started doing some business together, and we have a cool opportunity to work together for probably forever. What would have happened if I decided, hey, dude, I'm not gonna post that in my feed that day? Like, dude, you know, how many of you take videos on your phone and you never post it? Why are we saying no for the audience? I said, fuck it, I'm gonna post it. Something cool happened in the comments that's worth millions of dollars, right? Why? Because I just said yes, right? I just posted it. And then I posted another video when the game ended. What the fuck does this have to do with real estate or mortgage, by the way? Nothing. It doesn't matter, okay? But now a bunch of people in my sphere, the video went viral, a bunch of people in my sphere saw it, and now they're doing business with me, not because of Neel's the best mortgage person or the best real estate person or whatever. It's like, dude, I just like him.
It's the depth of the connection I think is super underrated. Like, I think a good thought exercise is, would you rather have 100,000 followers on TikTok, global, random, or would you rather have 100 followers, all luxury homeowners right here in San Diego? Like, you kind of, that well-known versus known well, I think is really important.
I fucked up the thing when I said the thing wrong. It was supposed to, bro, it was supposed to be like a bar, you know, but I did it backwards. But anyways, yeah, you know, you guys know what I'm saying. Like, you just need to put more of yourself out there. So I call it, my 3-step system is content, connection, conversion. If you skip one of those, you don't get the result. So you're already doing content. How much personal things are you sharing? You should probably share a little bit more. What's the ratio? I don't fucking know. Just do something. Like, everyone's like, dude, what's the exact system? It's the wrong question. It's different for everybody. If you feel comfortable sharing more personal things, you can go 50-50. If you don't feel comfortable, do like 80-20. But if you're sharing nothing personal right now, like, how can I connect with you? Like, it can't just be all about the numbers and all about the, you know, the properties. Like, it can, but it's not gonna you're not gonna get that connection piece that's gonna take you off as a micro influencer.
How about another content pillar or content idea is your podcast, your show. So should everyone in this room have their own show? I'm not leading you on that. I don't know if there's a right or wrong on this. Like, should everyone have their own?
So there's two different types of podcasts. One podcast is because you think you can actually kill it in the game of podcasting and take it seriously, have it a pillar of your content. The other thing is a fake podcast, where you're just using it for some other goal. So I started a fake podcast when I was early on in the journey, simply to have conversations with other people. So if I were to reach out to, actually just anybody, if I was to reach out to you, Connor, I'm like, hey Connor, bro, we don't know each other, but would love to go grab coffee. Don't ever say pick your brain. But like, if I said, I just want to pick your brain, you're like, what's in it for me, bro? I'm the picky. If I were to just say that, he'd be like, I don't know, like whatever. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. You could follow up. But if I were to say, hey, I have a show. We interview the top real estate people in our market. My last guest was so-and-so. Would love to have you on. I love what you're doing here. Would love to bring that value to the audience, introduce my people to what you're doing. You'd be like, sure, let's do it. It's more like of a flattering ask. So I was using my show just to have a 30-minute conversation with people and then chop it up and create content.
Yeah, that fake or informal like show approach I think is a really good strategy. In 2021, I did 100 Instagram lives. I never even posted one of those on a podcast channel or anything. That was probably a mistake. But to his point, the entire agenda was to try and meet people and connect and collaborate.
Yeah, and you're also bringing value to the audience.
Totally.
And you're getting good at interviewing, and you're creating you're creating clips, clippable content. The other cool thing that happens, the more you do this, is you start to speak in sound bites. So like, if you saw how cringe I was on those episodes, you'd be like, bro, there's no future for you in media. Like, you know it's bad when you can't even make it through your own video. That was me. But that's, like, it's just reps. So when someone's like, dude, I'm not made for this, I'm telling you, anybody can do it if you just do the reps. You get more comfortable, and then you speak with more confidence, more clarity. And the only way to get that is by just doing hundreds of reps, you know? I really don't know of any hack to get more clear with your messaging on stage or on a podcast or with your clients.
Yeah, I mean, the proof right here too is, so if you guys some of those screenshots years ago interviewing Tom Ferry, Chris Do, and then even just recently interviewing guys like Hormozi and Grant Cardone. So you're obviously making a ton of momentum and getting the reps in. I kind of want to talk about now, I pulled up some of your highest performing videos, but I want to talk about hooks real quickly. Like, yeah. I think at this point, a lot of people know what a hook is, the first 3 seconds of a video, but can you kind of give maybe a couple bullet points on whether that's like major mistakes or a really important, you know, practice in the beginning of the video?
Yeah, so there's 2 types of hooks. One is what you say, and one is a visual hook on the screen. So you can do one or the other or both. Sometimes I'll do both. And it would just let people know what to expect. Like, the audience will give you incredible grace if you start good, you know? So Connor, you fucked up that intro, so today's fucked. You know, I'm just kidding. No, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, when the intro is really good, you got them with you, right? And so it's just that 3 seconds, 4 seconds. It's your audition with the audience. It doesn't need to be like super animated. It just needs to be authentic. And then think of like a way to make the content more, not clickbait, but more like exciting. Like, so many of us here diminish the value of the information that we have. Like, would you agree that we change lives in this room? I would say so. Some of you guys are reluctantly raising your hand. Like, the work that we do changes someone's life. And so the coolest thing for me was I was speaking at an event in Las Vegas at Caesars, and I was doing this. It was like a National Association of Mortgage something. And I spoke, and then there was a dude who's the head of the staff who does all the tables, the catering department. And dude walks up afterwards, and he's like, hey, bro, started following you like 6 months ago, and I'm in a house because of your videos, man. Thank you so much. Like, I didn't think it was possible. I'm 56 years old, and we did it. And I was like, first question in my head was, why the fuck didn't you call me? Because I didn't do the deal. I didn't get anything from this, but whatever. But second question was like, dude, that's amazing. You know, that's awesome. And you never know who's watching. And so it sounds so cheesy, but the power of one video can get someone's wheels turning and get it. But you're not going to reach as many people if you start poorly. So just think about that start and how to make that start better. Even if you fumble along the way, like, the audience will still be there. Like, it's just that first 3-4 seconds.
Yeah, quick insight. If you guys even want to, while we're talking, you can pull up your Instagram or your last reel. And if you tap on insights, you can look at your watch time, and you'll see sometimes it's 5 seconds, 12 seconds, and that's the average watch time. So that means there are a number of people who are watching your video for 2 or 3 seconds and scrolling past it. So I think that focus on the hook is
I actually have a resource I could give everybody. I made a list of, I think there's 60 or 70 of the best performing ways to start, like hooks. Would you guys want it? Okay, so if you want it, the people who said no, you must not want better videos. So we'll leave you out of this, but anybody who wants to reach more people and make more money this year, just go to Instagram and DM me the word GROW, G-R-O-W, and I'll send it to you.
Awesome. I kind of want to talk about now, so you've, for years now, hosted content days where you batch with a bunch of realtors, real estate pros. You mentor well over 1,000 real estate pros across the country. I want to hear like some of the themes on like when realtors go to create content, this happens. Good, bad, ugly. Like, what's some of the themes that we can learn from after
the content days?
Yeah, from seeing so many realtors now create content, whether it's seeing them create it on their own or during a content day. Like, people are messing this up, or they're just, you know, maybe not comfortable and confident in the beginning, or like, what are some of the tips and takeaways?
Yeah, I think like get clear on your messaging, because some people just do it unintentionally and then it doesn't go anywhere and then they quit. So I would say this: most of the people that we've worked with to create content, they all quit. You know, so I guess the hack would be to not quit. That's the first hack.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
But they quit because they weren't doing it effectively. So I would say I've spoken to, tens of thousands of people. We've had some people come to workshops. We've speaking to people at events. There's 3% of these people who win because they do it effectively and they work on getting better and they take it seriously. 7% of those people never, like they started, but they quit. because they're ineffective. They weren't working on getting better. They never asked for business, so they didn't get much business. But the crazy stat is 90% of these people never even started. So like we think it's super competitive, but it's not. It's pretty freaking lonely at that 3% that actually does it every week, 52 weeks a year, and tries to get better. It's not like saturated. I realize that nothing is saturated because most people suck at what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, real estate's not saturated at the top. It's saturated at the bottom. You know what I mean? It's fucking lonely at the top. And so, how do you get in that top range is, like, take it seriously. Like, okay, I want to be intentional with my videos. Watch it back. Ask your friend, where do I lose you? Hey, I know I've got good feedback. I'm good on the good feedback. Could you tell me something I could do better? Give them permission to be ruthless. And you'll be like, dude, you lost me on that word. Or like, I was lost 4 seconds in. I don't know what you even talked about. You'd be like, oh shit, I need to go back to the thing. Imagine doing something 100 times, it not working, and then quitting because it doesn't work. Like, no, you would want to go back and see why it's not working, you know, and figure it out. Because the truth is, it does work. We can agree on that. And the second question is, will it work for you? So it will work for you if you be intentional. It's like making calls is different than really like being intentional about the calls and not just checking the box that I made calls today. You know? Yeah. Same thing with video.
I love the part on consistency, not quitting. I mean, I know pretty much everyone here in the room, and I know even some people who have posted literally one video in this room. But I think you all showing up here and committing is a huge step. But that consistency I really think that is like the best way to sum up the answer, because I know he's seen this in his workshops. We've seen this in our video business. You'd be surprised how many people pay for, spend the time to make videos, record the videos, get the videos, and then do nothing with them. It's crazy. So, I mean, I think just literally staying on the track and going, and then finding a way to improve, you know, 1 inch, 1 step at a time. We got a last couple of slides here, but this one was a thread you pulled up. I love this one because I think on the note of like, you know, more personal storytelling, a spouse who believes in you is the biggest life hack people don't talk about. Let's talk about it real quick.
Yeah, so if you have a problem with your spouse or your family, or like something's off there, it's like a killer in business. Like, you're not gonna be effective. It's just mind space. You can't, anybody been there? We've all been there. Like, you had a fight with your spouse, and then you're being stubborn, you don't want to say sorry, or whatever the fucking thing is, and then all of a sudden now you're like 1/4 effective in business. So I think first things first is like fix your home life and your relationship problems first before you're trying to do this stuff in business. But then the second thing is, like, a lot of people will complain to me that, hey, my spouse is giving me shit about this. My spouse giving me, I will tell you this, if you take shit seriously and get results, all of those complaints go away. The only reason they don't believe in it is because, like, A, they should believe in you, but maybe you're the type of person that has tried things and given up, and they kind of see your track record. So what I found is, yes, your spouse will believe in you if you actually follow through on the things that you say you're going to do, become a person of your word. And I also noticed this, like, man, all of us here are so good at showing up for other people. Like, if a client needs to meet you today, you'll literally leave right now, abandon this whole workshop, and go meet that client right now and close that deal. If there's a fire, somebody's taking care of a fire right now on their phone or their laptop, and they're not even paying attention. Like, that's cool. But you're like putting somebody else ahead of your own needs. That's what we do. Why is that? You know, what about putting yourself first in terms of like, I'm gonna actually show up for myself. I'm gonna do something for myself. You would think that that makes you selfish. No, it actually helps, right? Because now people take you seriously, you're getting results, you get that respect and support. So I would just like tell you like to fix your relationship first, you know, and if you're having a problem there, like that's probably what's holding you back in business.
I think often in our support system, it's a who, not how game. I have several thank yous throughout the day I'm gonna give, but if you guys didn't get a chance to meet my wife, Jamie, over at the front, huge thanks to her, because she's been a big part of putting this on. Let's give her a big thank you.
And then also, like, why not talk about your spouse, you know, on if things are important to you. I know some people don't want to share certain things, personal life, that's fine, I get it. But like, let people in, you know, like talk about the things the people that are important to you in your life. And I'm not saying to exploit your family and kids, but I'm telling you, like, if you truly feel something and it's honest, people will relate to that. They can tell who's faking it and who's being real.
Totally. And I'll admit, I've used the kids for content before too.
Yeah.
All right, so we got like 1.5 slides here left, but I just wanted to play this video that is, I think it was a recent video. It was, I think, one of your best performing videos. It's cool to see you put a lot of the things together that we've talked about today, the hook and everything. And then I'd love to hear you kind of explain how this generated what I think was upwards of 1,000+ leads for your business. So let's go and play this video.
So whether Trump wins or Harris wins, either way, the market data shows that interest rates are going to start to come down. We've already started to see this right now. Now, the reason this is so important is it's going to give so many people an opportunity to refinance their current loan. Whether they have a high rate loan and they want to reduce the rate, or they have a decent rate but they just want to take cash out. Either way, you're going to get the opportunity soon. But here's the part that most people don't realize. Whenever you do refinance, you have to make sure that the numbers make sense. It's not just the interest rate, it's the cost associated with the refinancing. You want to look at that cost, and then you also want to look at how much you're saving each month so you can calculate, is it worth it or not? And I actually put together a quick cheat sheet. It will tell you if it's worth it to refinance or not. If you want to grab that, just comment the word refi below and I'll send it over to you.
All right, so you got the hook, the observation content, some expert stuff in there, clear call to action. I think many chat at the end there, right? But like, what did this do for your business as a mortgage originator?
So this is just last week, and I saw like, what's the big thing in the news? The presidential election. I don't want to go there because it's like, you know, a lot of people get heated up. But I could say, what's the other big thing in the news was interest rates. So I just put those two topics together. So whether Trump wins or Harris wins, interest rates are coming down, and here's what that means for you, right? And then at the end of the video, I offer a guide. So many of you here, the next step to working with you is to book a call with you or reach out to you. Very few people reach out, you notice? Because they're just a couple questions away. They would like some coffee or conversation before you try and close them, okay? If you just would do this, it'll change your entire online digital marketing game. Just offer a step in the middle. So client here, close deal here. You want them to go make this journey on their own. Give them one step in the middle. The 3 steps that work the best right now are checklist, cheat sheet, or guide. These are called lead magnets. If you have one of those 3 things, and the first question somebody's thinking in here is what I put in the guide. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, you can literally type out in Google Docs or Word, save it as a PDF, there's your guide. Like, make it pretty in Canva later, but the first step is just like, put something of value. What are the tips to buying today? Whatever that is. Okay, cool. So if you offer that thing, now I'm telling you, I have a step for you in the middle. And here's how to get it. Comment this word below. I believe on that video, there's 1,000 comments. 500 of those are me responding to the people. So it's 500 new leads. Sure. Of those 500 leads, it's 100 people just funnel hacking me in the industry, which is cool. So, but 400 are consumers who wanted information. Like, so you're telling me, Neel, that one post you made casually last week that you paid an editor $30 to make it look pretty like this. It doesn't have to be pretty, but I like it like that. And you posted it, could generate you 400 leads. Of those 400 leads, it could turn into 40 transactions. And you guys do the math on 40 transactions from one video. So if anybody told you that you're wasting time making videos on social media, they're fucking retarded.
Let's go.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's the truth.
Like,
that's the
this
truth.
is one video. You're not making money on social because you're not doing it right. I just showed you one video. That's one of many videos that's going to generate hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're in a high margin business. You guys all just admitted that every client is significant to your bottom line. So what are we doing here? Like, I just made one fucking video and generated 40 closed deals, 400 leads, 40 closed deals. And this can be done on repeat. And by the way, while all those comments were happening in the comment section, I was drinking my coffee and having a croissant. I was not doing anything. This is all done automatically. ManyChat responds to the thing. It sends them a link. It sends them the guide. It follows up with them. It sends them a text. And then at the bottom of that funnel are the people who took a quiz or were ready to move forward. Then those are the people who we call. You know, those are the people who book appointments. And so I think it's just weird. Like, nobody does it correct, so it works. So if you're like in this room, one of 3 people that's like, dude, that nerdy guy that started, I think his shit was good. Like, I'm gonna try it. You'll win, you know, if you just do it correctly.
It's high leverage. I mean, it's playing even while we're sitting right here today. Maybe even just a quick reaction to this video, but just because I wanted to give some like comparison to his killer videos today versus this was one of his very, very first videos. So maybe not as much of an explanation, but just to show everyone too the journey of where he's come, and the message behind this I think makes a ton of sense still to this day.
So we're doing all these classes on video and putting out tons of content, and people still ask me, Neel, what's the point, or what's this going to do for my business? So if I had to boil it down into just 1 or 2 sentences, it would be this. If you're really good at what you do and more people become aware of that, what do you think is going to happen next?
More awareness obviously leads to more clients. So I want to end with this thread, this quote
By
from
the way,
Neel.
that video bombed, I think. That was like 2019.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
think
was trying to position myself as the expert, and nobody knew who I was, so yeah.
I looked at this like last night. It had like less than 100 views and no
Yeah.
engagement. So
That's a bomb.
All right, so last quote here to wrap up. It blows my mind how many incompetent people in the world earn incredible amounts of money because they aren't insecure. What is the lesson there?
Well, it's just we're all overthinkers. Like, we all think that there's a spotlight on us, and everyone's gonna judge us and critique us, and they're gonna, you're just gonna be viewed on harshly. The truth is, I found very few people care. If you make a bad video, the algorithm doesn't show it to anybody anyways, so it's pretty much dead. You're scared of what your sphere is gonna, like your friends and family are gonna say. Most of them won't even see the video because the algorithm is showing them whatever they're interested in right now. So I think this fear we have is on a pedestal. And so what I found with every single thing, whether it's posting a video, whether it's getting on a stage and talking, whether it's throwing your own event, whether it's doing something that's uncomfortable for you, whatever that is, fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. Once you try it and you get over it, it's like, dude, that wasn't that bad. It's easy. It's like a boulder. Once it gets rolling, it's easy, but getting the dang thing going is the hardest part. So I just found I would meet people that were crushing it with digital marketing, and they were kind of dumb. And I was like, bro, I'm smarter than that guy. Why is he winning? I'm better than, and it wasn't about who's better, it's who had the courage to just take action. That's all it was.
It's just the courage to take action. Man, I continue to learn a ton from you. I'm super grateful for your time. Appreciate you. Guys, let's give it up for Neel.
Thank you, guys.